So I've had a lot of people question me recently of why people would actually move to the Dallas, Texas suburbs. A lot of people going into the comments and saying that, hey, it's an uninspiring place to live, it's boring. Like, everybody has an opinion on why Dallas is not a good place, specifically in the suburbs, to live. But there is a reason that so many people are moving here, and in today's video, we're gonna talk about specifically why people are moving to the Dallas, Texas suburbs, and really kind of break down those interest points so you can decide if it's relative to you or not. Hey, my name is Michael Caraway. I'm a realtor here in the Dallas area, and let's get to it right now. So, this morning I went in to La Finca here in Frisco, got a coffee. Actually, this is my second coffee, but La Finca is an amazing coffee shop. It's a local shop, locally owned. There's only 2 locations, and it's one of my favorite spots around town. There's many other great coffee shops, great restaurants, great bars around here that are locally owned that you typically would only find in a really hopping, vibrant city. And so the fact that we can have this in the suburbs here in Dallas is a huge, huge win. In fact, that's what a lot of people, when they're looking at moving to the Dallas area, a lot of people specifically target Dallas from the beginning, but then as they continue to do more research on the suburbs, they realize that the suburbs aren't that sleepy. There's a lot going on. You have a lot of entertainment options. You've got really good dining options. There's tons of shopping in the suburbs. Now, obviously not every suburb in Dallas is like that. You're gonna have some that are gonna be a little bit more sleepy. There's gonna be some that are a little bit more vibrant, but in general, that's why a lot of people, one of the big reasons like a lot of people end up choosing the suburbs versus actually Dallas proper is that you still get a vibrant suburb. It's not like the stereotype where you go to the suburbs to settle down, start a family, all that kind of stuff. You can actually have a pretty vibrant life in the suburbs here in the DFW Metroplex. Now, another big reason that you're gonna find a lot of people moving to the suburbs versus Dallas proper is that you just get newer homes and nicer communities, nicer neighborhoods than you do in a place like Dallas, or as you continue getting closer to the city center. So one of the things you're gonna notice is that you have a lot of new construction neighborhoods popping up all over the DFW Metroplex, specifically in the northern suburbs, as you continue to get out of where all of the main development has been over the past few years, and your places like Plano, McKinney, and Frisco. If you get a little bit further north, a little bit further west or east, you start seeing tons of new construction options pop up, which a lot of people are liking right now as they're relocating in from out of state, or they're relocating within the state. They see all these brand new homes that they can get for really good prices. They see all the amenities that all these neighborhoods are offering. Take Windsong Ranch, for example. The amenities that you get when you buy a home in Windsong Ranch, which is a neighborhood in Prosper, Texas. You get a resort style pool, you get a lagoon that you get access to that you can swim at, that has a beach, you've got kayaks, you can paddleboard, all sorts of stuff there. So that's a huge win that you can't get in a city if you're choosing that lifestyle. So that's a huge win as well. And then, these neighborhoods, obviously, it's easier to make friends with because they always have events going on. They have these amenities that everybody goes to. And so when people are looking at, what checks all of their boxes, they're finding that they can get a newer home and they can get a nicer neighborhood that has a stronger sense of community than a lot of these places that you would find in Dallas proper. And so you find a lot of people moving actually out of Dallas proper into the Dallas suburbs to be able to get that, as well as people relocating out of California or Seattle or Chicago or New York because they don't get that there, or if they do, you're gonna have to spend a lot more money. Which leads us to our next point, which is the affordability of Dallas. The Dallas suburbs, in comparison to a lot of the other major cities in the US, is very, very affordable. You can, in some places in the DFW Metroplex, you can buy a new construction home for around $300,000 or a little bit cheaper. Now, if you're moving into the more popular suburbs, you're gonna start getting into the 500, 600,000, even up to, the $1 million mark. But it is possible to get a cheaper home and still get a nice neighborhood to live in the DFW Metroplex. So you see a lot of people, it's one of the top reasons that I hear is that people just want to get out of the state that they were living in because it was too expensive. They couldn't afford a home there, and they can come here, buy a way bigger home than they'd be able to afford in the place that they grew up or live currently, and still get a newer home and a nicer community to live in. And I've heard that from people that actually live in Dallas but move out to the suburbs as well. what you can afford in Dallas is going to be an older home and typically a smaller home. And so when people, get to the age where they're ready to buy a house, they decide, hey, I don't want this anymore. I don't want the older house. My money's going to go further somewhere else. So let's move out to the suburbs, get something a little bit nicer in a nicer neighborhood, and go that way. And that was a big reason why my wife and I had decided to move from Denver, Colorado into the DFW Metroplex. We just had our first daughter, and a priority shift when you have your kid, right? And we loved Colorado. We loved being outdoors all the time, but Colorado, Denver specifically, was very expensive. And the kind of home that we wanted, we were not going to be able to afford if we were continuing to go down the path that we wanted. And the kind of house that we wanted to be able to afford just was not realistic, considering that, our vision was to be able to have my wife stay home with our daughter. Now we have 2 daughters and she gets to stay home with both of them. And we wouldn't have been able to do that. We would have both had to work if we stayed in Denver, Colorado, but relocating down here allowed us to save money, get a nicer house, and still let her stay home with the kids and raise them how we want to. So huge win for us just in that point alone. Another reason that you're seeing a lot of people move down here is for a job. The job economy in the DFW Metroplex is really good. You're seeing all sorts of employment pop up around here. You're seeing companies relocate their headquarters to this area. And it's not just the downtown area of Dallas or Fort Worth. Like, a lot of companies are relocating to the suburbs as well, because they're realizing that the quality of life out here is so good. For example, PGA of America moved their headquarters from Florida to Frisco, Texas, which is a suburb here in the DFW Metroplex. You've seen companies like Toyota establish a huge presence here. So you're just seeing a ton of different employment options open up, and I don't foresee it slowing down over the next few years. And on that note, a lot of people are moving for those jobs that these companies are creating, but you also have people that are remote workers that are moving to the Dallas area because they can still work with the high-paying job that they have. Maybe it's based out of California or New York, and cut their cost of living like we talked about in the previous point. Another reason that I hear people move to the DFW Metroplex all the time is the quality of schools in the area. There are a ton of great schools in the DFW Metroplex, a lot of great school districts, and a lot of great options, whether you're going the public school or the private school route. So a lot of people love that about this area. Now, obviously, there's different areas around town that are going to be better schools than the other, but generally speaking, there are really good options for schools in this area. And that's what I've heard of a lot of people say, that if they were living in Dallas and they relocated to the suburbs, I've heard a lot of people say that that's one of the primary factors. They had their first kid and they're ready to get into a place that has really good schools, and so a lot of them end up flocking over to the suburbs. And we've talked about a lot of reasons of why people are relocating to the suburbs of Dallas. And if you want a taste of what kind of neighborhood, what kind of home, and what kind of amenities you get when you relocate to the DFW suburbs, then check out this video right here. If you need any help trying to buy or sell a home here in the DFW Metroplex, you need an advisor, reach out to me. I'd be honored to help you along the way. Until next time, I'll see you later.